Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Oh no, I think I'm about to have another episode.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Super muy bien, muy bien, muchísimo. All right. So at some point you have to hit record unless you've already done that.
I think it's automatic, but I will check here. Let me see.
Good, because I'll put this part in my show. You know I will.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I should edit before I send it. No.
Exactly. You do Porky Pig and I'll howl.
Hey, that's right. You got to promise you're going to use the Porky Pig closing, you know. I mean, that's,
Exactly. Well, you did it once already. I don't know if I should make you do it again. Get your wife on the phone. Let's get her doing Porky Pig.
Oh, I don't think I could do it again.
No, I won't make you do it again. All right, we ready to rock?
Yes, go ahead and do whatever your intro stuff is.
I was going to say, world's longest and most unprofessional intro. Hey! Why not? This is episode 90. Can you believe it? 90. It's actually 91 because I have a 000, but episode 90 of the Renovating Retirement Podcast. This is the first repeat offender. Welcome back, Bill Manassero from the Knock the Socks Off the World and Make Tons of Money Real Estate Network. Actually, that's not the name, is it?
Not at all.
All right, tell us, old dog. Woof. Tell us what your name is. What's the name of the podcast and the whole movement that you're building?
The Old Dogs REI Network.
Old dog. I think of, gosh, I don't know what cartoon it is, but I think of this old droopy dog from one of the cartoons. Disney
Deputy Dog. Well, that was before your time, probably. Yeah, that was black and white cartoons.
I remember.
And I would know that because I'm an old dog. But you know, you're probably more into like
Droopy
Pokemon.
Droopy Drew, Marmaduke. I grew up with Marmaduke.
Yeah.
Maybe the entire show should be devoted to other wonderful dogs besides yourself. Let's think about this.
That's right. There are, you know, just we could go on on that.
Good.
But Underdog. I mean,
Underdog.
There
was one recently. I can't remember. There was a children's movie like 10 years ago. It was like Bolt, right? Bolt is a dog.
Oh, Bolt was big. Yeah. My kids loved the Bolt.
Got like 25 kids. You've seen Bolt, right?
Yeah. Like 50 times.
Exactly. All of us have. Right? So I interviewed you on episode 48. It is one of the more popular episodes. Thank you so much for giving my listeners what they want to hear. That's cool.
Well, it's my pleasure, Charlie. As always, you know, I am a big fan of your show. So, hey, you're talking to, you know, a already sold audience here.
And we're both, if I'm understanding you correctly, because you have sort of an evangelist missionary background, we're both teachers. We like to share helpful information. And both believe kind of the truth will set you free. True?
Amen. You got that right.
All right. People are yelling, preach, in the background. We just can't hear them because it's a podcast. So the first time I interviewed you, really I wanted to talk to you because, I mean, you're doing something different than I do, but for the same group of people, which is retirees. There's this unique time in people's lives where they go into 30, 40, 50 years of unemployment, right?
Right.
The definition of retirement, Charlie Jewett style, would be you have in-case accounts, income accounts, and increase accounts while you're working. You have an emergency fund, you have a paycheck by definition, or you run a business like I do, and then you have increase accounts or growth accounts. You are actually saving in IRAs and 401ks, things like that. And the only reason people save in those places, the only reason people build up a nest egg is because one day they know the second type of money is going away. The income is going away. So I do a lot, and you know this, I do a lot of, you know, purchasing of income, buying annuities, buying a paycheck, buying a pension. But that's not the only way to create retirement income, which you found out. Why don't you give us again, maybe people didn't hear episode 48, or maybe there's a new way that you're saying it, but give us again the story. Why didn't you just do retirement the normal way? I mean, how did you get into this, you know, wanting to have 1,000 doors, which sounds crazy, but it's awesome. How'd you get here?
Well, you know, just to put it in as simple terms or as brief as I can here, I you know, was in the corporate world for years. You know, you were talking about these different stages. I kind of look at you know, these 30, 30, 30. You know, the first 30 where you kind of working hard to get to a certain place, and then the middle 30 where you're earning the income and you're you're investing and you're buying and you're doing all those things, having kids and family. And then there's the final 30, the final stretch is kind of where I look at myself and the people that I talk to every day, that are what I classify those 50 plussers that are folks that are either approaching retirement or already in retirement. And there's a lot of us out there that didn't necessarily have that perfect pension in place or that perfect retirement fund. There are people like me that have gone to those "what do you need to retire" calendars, and then when it comes up like 6,005,404, they just their eyes kind of glaze over and say, well, let's see, maybe I could start a lemonade stand.
Exactly.
So we're kind of, figuring it out as we go along. Sometimes there's they've got some savings, an IRA or 401k. They may have, some sort of pension. They may have lost the pension, in the terrible down cycle in 2008, or maybe they're relying a lot on Social Security. Maybe there are folks that have gone back to work, just to supplement their Social Security income, which may be all they have. So there's a broad spectrum there, and then there's also those that are there that are doing well. They've got the funds they need for the rest of their life, but they're bored and they're looking for something to do. And real estate investing is an exciting thing to learn. It's something that has great, incredible returns. And that's where I found myself. Like I said, I was in the corporate world a big chunk of my life. I was an entrepreneur for another big chunk of my life, and then I got called into the mission field. Where I just kind of got rid of everything and, took this giant leap of faith, kind of like the Indiana Jones, walking out on that rock bridge that isn't really there kind of thing. And just, taking that leap of faith and just trusting in God to be able to provide for us. And that's what he did for 12 years in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, as we worked with abandoned, orphaned and at-risk children that lived on the streets of Haiti. And so we have a nonprofit organization called Child Hope International that is, a big part of our lives and a
Nice.
big focus of our efforts, post-retirement as well. And so, as I'm in Haiti and I know it's the sort of the final season and that we're coming back to the States, I was trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do? I've got to survive. I still got 3 kids at home. I've got 7 kids total. I've got the older ones that have grandkids, and I've got all the way down to 13 years of age. And so we're looking at that. We're saying, gee, this is going to be interesting, another walk of faith. And I started toying with ideas. What can I do? And I just kept, falling asleep at night and seeing myself in that blue vest, handing out shopping carts at Walmart. And I thought, I don't know if that's really what I want to aspire to. And so,
Right.
and not that, no criticism to those listening that do wear those blue vests every day. I mean, God bless you, that you're out there working. But, I just, our needs were going to be greater than that. I still got kids to go to college. There's a lot of things there that play into this. And so I started kind of messing around with different ideas. I said, well, look, I was an entrepreneur. I've had businesses before. Why don't I just start a business? And, I didn't want to do like a storefront thing, or I didn't even want to do something where I, had to hire employees. So I looked at online businesses, because you see these guys that just have these great success stories, the John Lee Dumases of the world, and that are making these, 200, 400,000 a month, just, doing, and they don't even know what they do, but they just pull that money in. And as I started playing with that, and I actually got into sort of an eBay kind of function business, and it started to produce, and I was going, well, this isn't too bad. It's pretty easy. I only have to give it a few hours a week, and I'm making like $1,000 a week. And this is cool.
Nice.
But then I got kicked off of eBay because it was one of these drop shit things you kind of buy on Amazon, sell on eBay. And if you're doing large volume, and we're selling things like dining room sets and some pretty big items, if your supplier for some reason runs out or doesn't have what you want, then you have to go to the person that already bought this on eBay and say, look, I'm sorry, we're out of them. I really apologize. Get your money right back. And then we we'd still get the bad review. And if you get 4 bad reviews, you're off of eBay just permanently. And
So hold on, you're the Christian missionary who's been kicked off of eBay. That's what we're saying right here, right? You're like my Christian missionary friend who's been excommunicated from
I know
eBay.
it doesn't really do well for the testimony here, but
So you found a source of retirement income and then got fired even though you didn't have a job.
right.
Wowzers.
And
It
so
takes skill. It takes skill to get fired when you're not employed.
don't run
That's a
it in.
gift.
Yeah, believe me, it was like one of those things where I walked around all depressed for like a week going, I didn't mean to do anything wrong.
Did you make a shirt? Even eBay fired me.
I was thinking about writing a book.
I think the book title should be How I Got Kicked Off eBay and Became a Real Estate Mogul.
There you go. That's a good one. Can I? You're not going to copyright that or anything.
No, 50% of the profits, we're good to go. The profits on podcasters' books, we get like 3 cents per book. It's awesome. I want half of that. Penny and a half for all books sold every month.
That's great. So basically, yeah. So we're we're back to the drawing board. As we do as Christian missionaries, we're on our knees again, praying and saying, Lord, you gotta help us here. We're getting ready to move back. We don't have anything, and I get an inheritance check in the mail, and that's I'm used to that. I live.
You're used to inheritance checks?
No, I'm used to praying.
How many relatives do you have?
Hey, I'm Italian. There are actually a lot of them out there.
We're reverse Mormon. I'm an only child with 95 parents.
So anyway, I got this money in the mail, and normally I had money in the stock market, so I figured, well, I could put it in the market. But the market, I was already getting ready to pull out of the market because I was just concerned there were just too many signs that things may change and so forth. I didn't want to chance it with all we had, and so I started researching. I started looking at real estate. I read Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I said, well, maybe I'll just invest in some real estate as just some way to round out my investment portfolio. I researched it. I found what I call an emerging market, and actually 2 key emerging markets that really appealed to me. I got on a plane out of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, flew to Atlanta, flew to Memphis, came back with 3 properties, and I was done. And I figured, okay, now I've invested my money, and I'll have to figure out still what I'm going to do. But the next month, all of a sudden, I got money in the bank, and it's just coming in every month. And I'm going, this is sweet. This is really nice. And if I could just increase this, then I could live off of this. So I just started doing more research and started digging into it. And eventually I just said, I could do this. And that's where I started this plan. I came up with 1,000 units by 2020, so 1,000 units in 6 years. And basically what I have to do is double the number of units I have each year. Sorry, not each month.
Wow.
Each year.
That's pretty confident for a guy who's been kicked off eBay. Double every month.
Well, it's definitely an aggressive plan, but I could do this. And it's not that I needed that a full amount of income. I mean, that's 1,000 units going to produce a lot of cash, but we still have this major organization in Haiti, and we want to be able to fund it, and we want to be able to have the funds to fund it, and help to eventually launch it into a self-sustaining organization, which was what we were in the midst of when we left. And so that's the plan. That's what I've been doing. I have, and in that process, I might share with you that I had friends, other old dogs, guys my age, and my brother's a couple of years older than me. Everybody's asking me, "Well, what are you doing? What are you doing now? What did you buy?" And as I've shared it with them, I see myself writing all these emails, and I say, well, maybe I should just blog this, and then people could just get my story as I'm doing it. And then the blog sort of evolved into a podcast where I interview guests 1 week, like on Mondays and on Fridays. I just talk and I share my experiences, and the good and the bad and the ugly, and it helps people to learn that are doing this to be able to do it. Hopefully not repeat the mistakes that I make, at least. And and we have great guests that tell people how to how they did it, how they got 1,000 units in a year as opposed to my 6 years, and other people that maybe don't want to go so aggressive. Maybe they just want a couple of duplexes for some, supplemental income. And so that's really what's happening. It's just we have a blog, we have tons of information and articles, how-to information on there. Our podcast, and that's what we be doing.
Well, here's the good news. I put old dog into Google. Now you have to tell people how to spell it because it's not dog.
Yeah,
right?
No, we're real hip. It's a DAWG. I mean, we're rappers.
Because all Christian missionaries to Haiti rap, right? I mean, when I look at your picture, I think ghetto rapping. That's basically what I think of. I know your pants are down around mid gluteus maximus, and you're just like that.
That's a dog.
So I put old dog in Google, and the good news is First thing in Google, Old Dogs REI Network home. That's where we find your blog. Second thing, podcast.
I should say homie. No, but it's
homie.
Okay. Home's good.
Yeah. What's up? This is the homie page. Podcast, the Old Dogs REI Network is number 2. Podcast, Old Dogs REI Network number 3. You're the top 3 in Google. And then guess what?
What?
Fitness Phuket. Old Dogs Coaching and Training Camp. That's not you, right?
No, but it sounds like it could be a nice offshoot.
Exactly. Don't mispronounce Phuket, Phuket, because
I'm glad you pronounced it that way. Yeah,
exactly. That's quite a name for a company. Dang,
yeah.
They don't care. All right, so we got the Old Dogs Real Estate Investor Network. Your blog is, chocked full of information. Now, we talked before. We talk a lot, right? But we talked before we started recording. Actually, some of the talking before the recording I'm going to put in there without your permission. Hey.
Thanks, Charlie. I know I could always count on you.
Hey, mi amigo. But so I'm here looking at the blog. I mean, you've got enough blogs to write 10 books. There's a ton of information here, and you're charging people how much?
Nothing.
Hey, I think it's a good deal.
And I got to tell you why. Okay,
that's a better deal than Walmart.
No, I got to tell you why. Because when I first started looking at real estate, I was just, I was the shiny object king. I mean, it was like first I wanted to do flipping. And so I went out and at first I listened to the free webinar, and then I went to the next stage. And then before you know it, I'm buying, all this guy's tapes and home study materials. And I'm ready to go to his seminar in Boulder, Colorado. And I'm spending all this money. And then, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go wholesaling. No, I'm going to do Okay. So I just listened to a harmless webinar. And before you know it, I was sucked in, and I got all this guy's stuff. So I have this bookcase right near me now, and it's got almost everything you can do in real estate investing except
paperweights
except
made
what
of
I'm
paper.
doing.
Paperweights made of paper.
So I made the commitment. I said, I'm going to do this. And if I really share this information, I'm going to do it at no obligation. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling an educational program or webinars or seminars or books or any of that stuff. I'm just going to be a resource. And, and I talk to people all the time. They call me, I meet them for coffee. I get emails, and I just kind of help these people to do it themselves. But I try to do it so it's, they're not blowing all their money. I mean, there's some consultants out there that are, and God bless them, some of them are really doing a great job, but they're $20,000 just to get in the door, and for their consulting. And that a lot of folks in their retirement years, that nest egg they have is all they have. And if you can do it without spending those kinds of fees, I think I want to at least be able to facilitate that.
So here's another similarity between you and I, besides we like to rap and rap with each other, right?
Yeah, right. Especially, when you just want to freestyle, just kind of go.
Yeah, don't even put that on air. That's live only. Meet us somewhere in California when we're in a club. But another similarity, we both know how to make more money. We both know how to get people to pay us more or increase what we're earning on the information we're giving, but don't necessarily believe in that morally. It doesn't fit our do unto others. It doesn't fit the golden rule part of our lives. Accurate?
Right. No, that's true.
I mean, I know how. I mean, in my industry, I'm the one who's teaching. I'm the one who's confronting the industry on what I have people that I know that make $500,000 a year, whether they work or not, because of where the money is positioned. And some of them, it's not wrong. The people actually, that many people want that much money there. But the majority of financial advisors jamming people into mutual funds and stocks and bonds when they really should be in something that's income producing like this, are making money at the expense of the clients carrying all the risk and the advisors getting all the benefits. But you've got a story. I mean, you said that you're helping people. You told me a story that I think is worth highlighting, because the people listening to this are going, yeah, but what about me? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Or they're saying the same thing you did. They're saying, I've got a shelf full of books that say buying tax liens, finding motivated sellers, how to buy money with 0% down from 30 years ago, right? They've got the full shelf of books from recognized authors, and yet don't have a paycheck coming in every single month. But you've actually helped some people. You told me about a guy that bought 2 properties. Somebody's buying one in Texas, whatever. Give me a success story. Who's benefited from the old rough dog?
Well, half the time I don't even know, who is benefiting, because, we don't always hear back. And occasionally I'll get this email from somebody that says,
it's not eBay. We know it's not eBay is benefiting.
It's not. No, I wouldn't give advice on eBay. I wouldn't last long out there. But these are folks that have just, taken, a lot of times too, I direct them in places. I direct them to great books that I've read that really are applicable to our situation.
Well done. Well said. Were you rapping or stuttering?
Yeah, well, I almost went into a freestyle thing here, but
okay.
Just
try to control yourself.
Okay,
it's a podcast. We're not in the club tonight.
It's just so much fun, being here with a fellow rapper. But anyway, so that I've talked to these folks that are really interested in doing this, but I say you got to start out at your own pace. I have sort of a 4 phases of how to get started in real estate investing. Number 1 is get educated, and that could include seminars or one of these programs, or even the home study materials. But there's plenty of stuff that's free. I mean, it's all over the internet. I mean, one of the most amazing things, and I just get this like every day. I'm looking at like YouTube, and I say, you could be working on your car and you have the hood up on it, and oh my gosh, you're holding this part and you're going, where does this go? And you can take your phone out and you can look in YouTube, and boom, it'll tell you how to finish the job. I mean, that's how amazing YouTube
All right, can I
is.
cut in here for a second? I'm not kidding. I looked up on YouTube the other day how to teach someone to tie their shoes.
Love it.
I learned this this freakish way of tying your shoes. I don't know what genius came up with this. It's not the old make one bunny ear and wrap the tree around it and tuck the tree through the bunny's arm or whatever, right? It wasn't that one. Dude, this guy does this knot on YouTube, how to do I don't know, how to tie your shoes in less than 20 seconds. Fascinating. But you're right. I've done that. I looked up how to install windshield wipers on a Mazda 2013, right?
Uh-huh.
Anything YouTube's now the second most popular search engine on the planet. True?
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what
owned by the first most popular, Google.
Monopoly!
Sorry.
Big time. So what are you going to do with all your penny loafers now that you know how to tie your shoes, Charlie? I mean,
tie the heck out of them while wrapping.
Just add little bows on them. You can just
exactly. Look, 6 minutes later, there's 95 knots. Damn. Watch me now. Y'all ready for this? All right, back to the content.
Okay.
No one knows what we were talking about.
Yeah, wait. Those that are running to go off and make their lunch. Wait. We're gonna actually
exactly. No.
Value
Bill's
here.
about the real estate old dog's about to tell you how to change your oil on YouTube.
But anyway, what I try to do is give them all these free resources that they can use to find out what they need to do. And once you get educated, then I recommend getting a mentor, somebody that hopefully you don't have to pay $20,000 to, but and somebody that'll help you.
You're only 19 and a half.
Maybe. Or maybe it's just somebody you go in and you volunteer in their office and help them out on Saturdays, and they share their wisdom and knowledge with you or something.
Nice. So that's available?
Yeah. I tell them to write a plan. Get your plan and have a focus where you want to go, so that you don't fall into that shiny object syndrome that I get involved with or used to get involved with. And then the biggest step, the 4th one, is taking action, and that's really just doing it. And that's the hardest thing for almost everybody I talk to, is just actually buying that first property. But I will tell you, when you buy that first property, that's really where the real education starts. I mean, you could study all the books you want, you can go to every seminar, webinar, on and on and on, but it really is, the education begins when you buy that first property.
Yeah,
And that's,
studying for 6 months on how to do a somersault is different than
Right.
trying your first somersault, right?
You got it.
And going, well, that felt weird, or that hurt like crazy at age 45 or 98 or whatever you are, right?
That's right.
Hey, low blow. That's a low blow. No one can rap at 98. We know you're younger.
Well, I didn't tell you where I was in that third quarter, so it could be
That's right.
real
We're
close to that 98.
Bill's
number.
on the 30-30-10 plan. 30-30-30-10.
The additional 10, yeah, right.
But I mean, you have someone that you don't know who listened to the podcast, listened to the resources that you introduce people to and don't charge for, who said, I'm buying my second property. We're making money on the first one, right?
That's right. That's right.
Dude, that's awesome.
So, and I think that, I'm not taking credit for it. I just, that's what we're here to do. So I'm hoping that the people that are listening are just moving forward. At the end of every show, I said, keep moving forward, because you don't want to get frozen at a certain point. You can, and there's that analysis paralysis that can settle in as well, where you kind of overanalyzed it, and you got all this paperwork and all these spreadsheets, and basically trying to find reasons why you shouldn't move forward. And I think sometimes you just have to throw all that stuff away and just go for it. Yeah.
Everything you and I know how to do, we were bad before we were good.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the process.
Tying shoes. I mentioned somersaults. I did gymnastics, backflips, front flips. We're talking about owning your own businesses. Most people fail their way forward, right?
Right.
And then they eventually make it. I dropped out of college at 19 years old to buy a 10,000 square foot health club, and probably took me into my 30s to have a really successful business.
Really?
So really, no one should be sitting there reading books, listening to any materials, even yours, and not taking action and be in paralysis. They really should be saying, let me do my first deal and expect it not to be perfect. Let me be bad before I'm good, but learn from it. Right?
Right. And it's not like it's going to be, it doesn't have to be a major, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail. I mean, we make little mistakes generally. If you did your homework, and you generally aren't going to make any real critical mistake. But we do, and the mistakes, I actually look forward to them, because I learn something that's really important that will hopefully make me that much more effective next time.
Well, let me ask you if you agree with this, because this is a mentor of mine, but he's not really a real estate teacher, so maybe he's never showed up in your world. There's a guy named Douglas Andrews, wrote a book called Missed Fortune 101, Last Chance Millionaire, a bunch of other books. He's the guy who trained me 12 years ago, and the reason I don't pay off my mortgages, and I use my home equity to create arbitrage. But he taught something called the 80% rule. I don't think it comes from him. I think it comes from Dan Sullivan. But tell me if you agree with this 80% rule, and let's talk about how it applies to your show, the education that you give. He says, when you are 80% ready to do something, do it. Then the 20% that wasn't ready, or the 20% that didn't go the way you wanted to, or was messed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go back and fix 80% of that. So your first deal, you're 80% ready, and you go, man, there's 20% I wish I could do differently. And you fix 80% of that. On your second deal, you're at 96%. So would you agree that like I tell people, if you listen to all 90 episodes of my show, you're going to know more than most financial advisors in the country? Would you agree that if someone listened to all of your shows, now maybe they don't have to wait till the end to do their deal, but you can listen to all your shows on a binge over a week or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody listened to all your shows, or went to the materials you're recommending, could they get 80% ready to do their first deal, and then do a review, an autopsy, and say what 20% didn't go well? Let's fix that.
That's a great question. I would say so. I think there is enough material there, enough resources that may it may all be in the show, or it may be things that we talk about in the show. For example, we may refer somebody to this website, or we may refer people to this book or whatever. But I honestly believe that's an accurate statement, that the people that would listen, because I'm only half of the show. I'm only, talking on Fridays, and that's when I have what I call my Fun Fact Fridays. And Fun Fact Fridays, I may talk about terms, what is cap rate, what is return on investment, or whatever it may be. I also share my in the trenches experience of what I'm encountering in the investment world. And then on Mondays, I go out and I seek the top experts that I can find in the field, and I bring them on. And they're not just all investors. I bring like the best attorneys, syndication attorneys. I bring in the folks that I've had you on my show. Talk about when you start getting this income in, how to leverage that.
Oh,
to
you
your
do have the
benefit.
best. Oh my goodness, the best of the best.
Not that it was a slow week that we had you on. No, Charlie. We
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm not filler. I promise, I'm not filler.
No, but we bring the best people in, and those guys, it's amazing. I listen to my own show on a regular basis because I can't catch it all in the interview process. I even write my own actual show notes, which means you listen to the whole show over again and write it all out and post it so the people that go to my blog can get the information. And because I learned so much more in doing those show notes, and I just think, I think there's more than enough information for somebody to get started.
So let me ask you a question. Maybe you won't like this question. Who knows? But I think it's fair for the listeners. How many hours of research do you think a person would need to put in? Listening, reading, whatever, right? How many hours of research and education and preparation do you think someone should put in before taking action and trying their first somersault, so to speak, before trying something? How many hours to get 80% ready?
That question, I don't know that I can answer that question. Only reason being is, first off, everybody that listens to the show, not everybody's 50 plus. I have a lot of younger people. I have some that are just, in their 20s, and these are all people that I not consult formally with, but that I talk to, that I email, I meet for coffee, that kind of thing, and share information. So there's a range there. And
Who pays for the coffee?
It depends. It depends.
I can totally pretend I'm 20 years old and get you to I'm trying to meet you for coffee.
All right. If it's you, well, you're a guest, so or have been a guest, so I'd have to pay.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've earned $6 at Starbucks. Woo!
But just the one time. Okay.
No, but one date. One date. You already know that going in. Thanks, man.
No, but what I'm saying is that there's a wide span of folks there, some which are real academically suited, and there's others like me. Okay, so I was in the mission field for 12 years. I didn't have to do a lot of intellectual exercises. We were surviving, and we were helping other people to survive. We were in a whole different mode. And in a pretty toxic place, especially during the earthquakes, kidnappings, hurricanes, all kinds of diseases that flew in there, from chikungunya to malaria and dengue, and we've all had all those diseases. And so when
chikungunya just sounds like a wonderful Thai meal to me.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of opening a little restaurant, like that with that title, but I don't know if it'd go over well.
Right.
But,
welcome to Mad Cow Restaurant.
So I love the intellectual exercise because it'd been years since I really had to study and to really learn things, and so but it took me a little bit longer, and I had to give it a lot more time and effort. So it's hard to be able to, if you're a quick student. If I did it, pretty much anybody could do it, because it just
Can I second that? Can I second that for everybody without being insulting?
I second that emotion. Okay, thanks a lot, Charlie.
No. I just lost my one coffee on Bill.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think you're lucky if you get a chai tea.
You're basically saying you didn't have advantages like $3 million sitting in an account and parents who did real estate. You weren't the son of Trump.
No. My dad was a mechanical engineer. Yeah.
We're talking about a body of data that you need to learn. and then you go mess it up or get 80% ready, and then you do better your next deal, better next deal. By deal 3 or 4, you're kicking it. You're doing great. It's possible to. I can learn how to do sit-ups. I mean, I know how to do sit-ups, but if I've never done sit-ups, that's possible to learn. We know that. I mean, I had a time where my children couldn't do jumping jacks. They just didn't know how to do that motion, the two parts together, and then they learned it, right?
Right.
No, people can learn this. This is the buying of cash flow real estate to create perpetual income and possible appreciation is a learnable skill, even for the retiree.
Right. And this is a point I'll make really simply here, because I'm a very simple guy. And
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, is that you already have probably, I'd say most of your listeners probably already have this skill. Have you ever bought a house?
That skill they have. Yep.
Yeah. So if you've bought a house, you're halfway there. Now, what you learn beyond that are more strategic type things. Buying a house doesn't take a rocket scientist. A lot of people can buy houses, and it's just, okay, finding an emerging market. Yeah, you're going to have to do some market research. You're going to have to understand what it's like to go to the government census sites and look for places where there's population growth, where there's job growth, where there's, those kinds of things might be new to you. And so to do it strategically and for the biggest benefit, that's where the education comes in. Buying the house is nothing. That's really easy. But doing the other part of it, and that is really getting in there and getting strategic about what kinds of properties. How do you find a property under market? How do you find a property that's not even listed and be able to buy that at 20%, 30% under market value? What do you do to bring its value up so that one really fun thing about investing, especially in the multifamily sphere, is that they have something called forced appreciation.
I love this. I know about this.
Where you can go into a property and you can buy it even at market rate, and you can do certain things such as improve, some slight upgrades in the common areas, maybe upgrade the units a little bit, do something nice with the landscaping so that you can go into your tenants and say, hey, this place is a better place to live. Let's increase our rents. Okay, let's go. And so everybody, feels good about the rents increasing. When the rents go up, okay, it has what's called sort of a 10x effect on the value of the property. For every dollar that rent goes up, it increases the value of that property by 10 times.
Oh, my beating heart.
Yeah.
My beating heart. Stop.
So you can do the same thing with the expenses. If you bring expenses down, every dollar you save in the monthly expenses does the same thing. For every dollar saved on finding ways to cut expenses, to putting low water flushing toilets or something like that, you're spending less on the water bill, so it comes down. And you do all these little tweaks to it, and before you know it, you've taken this property and you've increased its value 50%, so that you not only have now higher rents, so you're getting this great cash flow, you cut your expenses, which makes the cash flow even stronger, but now you've got equity in this property, and you can sell the property and take all that cash and go to a bigger property, or you could use that to leverage to buy additional properties and still maintain that property. But it's just, it's kind of like a monopoly game. You take your 4 houses and you turn them into a hotel, and it's kind of the same idea here, is that you can just keep building and you do cash out refis, and like you had already learned, you referenced it before, that your debt is your friend when it comes to real estate, and you can really leverage that to be able to expand your holdings and eventually your entire portfolio.
You're not excited about that, are you, by the way? It sounds not like you're excited at all. All right, where do I go with this? One is, if you're Warren Buffett, okay, and you can buy most of the stock to control a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you buy stocks, but you buy most of it to control the company, and you can move in or send in a team, your management team or whatever, to take over the company and double or triple their earnings. You can force value into the stock. True?
Oh, yeah.
real estate has, I mean, I'm a financial advisor. I'm a retirement planner. I have the licenses for, securities and for life insurance and things like that. I have a real estate background as a realtor. I did mortgages. I studied estate planning. I studied taxes. Most investments, you can't really force value into them. You're just waiting. You're spot on with real estate, in my opinion, and you have more experience than me. But if I took over a 100-unit rental, 100-unit apartment complex, there's a motivated seller who, because of their age, because of their situation, whatever, they're going through a divorce. They need to sell this thing so they can split up it doesn't matter what it is, right? They got to get out of there. And you pick it up and you move in. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, but sometimes simple changes like everybody gets free cable and everybody has a barbecue that we sponsor on 4th of July, right? Mm-hmm. Am I right or wrong that some of those emotional changes, some of those value adds maybe only cost you $30 a month, but if you can raise the rent by $60 a month prior to appreciation, we're not even talking about the real estate or the land going up in value, right?
Right.
Just talking about, can we make this a place where people pay more to live here? And raising rents, you could lose 10, 15% of your renters, but then you replace them with people that are willing to pay those for the. We're just talking about an investment or an income stream that you do have some level of control of forcing value into it or raising the value by wise decisions, right?
That's it. And that's really the appeal that it had to me. I've been an investor in the stock market for years. And I remember, finding out about this company called Netflix and it, studying and reading on it and getting all this information and finally, going in there and, okay, I'm going to make this investment, but you don't know what's really going to happen. You don't know what the CEO is going to do. You don't know if somebody's going to buy him out. You don't know. And hey, it turned out to be a good deal. But what about the other 9 that I also researched that didn't do so well, even though all the things were lined up and it looked like it was going to go crazy? This is something that you do have control on. And yeah, I don't have the money that Buffett has, but I can certainly go in there and I can control the value of that investment very strategically to not only get more cash flow out of it, which means the money that goes into my pocket each month, but I can increase the value of that property and either sell it or leverage that equity for other purchases. So yes, there are very few things that you can do that with. And a business is one of them. You can go into a business and you can hire the right people and get the right contracts and, and make that business grow and benefit from the growth. But this is a pretty simple thing that one person can do, and yet with great returns. So that's why it's so appealing to me and a lot of the listeners that we have at the Old Dog REI Network.
So let's go to my listeners. I just did seminars here in my town in San Diego, and one of the things I do during my live seminars is I say, here's what I think is the absolute worst financial plan on the planet. Okay? Worst financial plan on the planet. You own your home free and clear. You've paid off your mortgage like a good boy or a good girl, because everybody tells you to do that. So you have no debt. You put all of your money into 401ks, 403bs, 457s, or IRAs. That's any type of retirement account where you got a tax break on the front and you postpone taxes to a later date. So you have all taxable retirement income. So no debt on your home, no mortgage. All your money or a big chunk of your money is in IRAs, 401ks, or yet to be taxed investments. And you're going to be taking Social Security income. So, Bill, even though you're in the real estate world, how many of the retirees in the world do you think fit into that category?
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty
More than 50, right? Uh-huh. More than 50%. I mean, that if you're a good boy or a girl, you're supposed to pay off your mortgage, postpone taxes to a later date, right? And unless you were a teacher where you're exempt or whatever, you get Social Security. What they don't realize is that all those strategies were created on purpose to give the IRS the most money. If you have no deductions, fully taxable income from IRAs and 401ks, they are then allowed to tax up to 85% of your Social Security. Therefore, you net the least amount of money possible. Now, I have 2 people in my life that have apartment buildings owned inside of Roth IRAs. Now, you might be getting an aha, but other people may not. But what does that mean? That means all of the increasing rents for the rest of their life come in tax-free, And when they sell the properties, all the gains are completely tax-free. So I know the answer, but can people buy real estate inside of an IRA?
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
And it's a wise thing to do in a self-directed IRA or 401k, because you can defer the taxes on that indefinitely. Well, I guess it's 70 and a half or whatever. You might have to start taking money out, but you can take out as little as you want. Maybe again, there's some restrictions there. You might know that better than I. But basically, it's a great way to grow your real estate empire inside of this vehicle that you own. And when you're ready to retire, you've got more than enough funds to be able to draw upon. So that's a great way. But there's also a whole host of other tax advantages to owning property. From the depreciation to the the expenses that you have, the ongoing expenses that you have. You may declare on your taxes. I mean, we all saw this with Donald Trump's returns, right? Why isn't this guy paying taxes? Because he was smart enough to be able to buy, real estate. And
sure.
The law definitely favors the real estate investor, and you can you can avoid a lot of those taxes that you would have to do if you had a business where you're going to have to pay taxes on all of that, or other investments where you've got the capital gains.
Well, tell me if you agree. I traveled for years with Dominique Molina, who trained under Diane Kennedy and spoke at Tony Robbins events. Dominique Molina created the Certified Tax Coach designation. Still a contact and a friend of mine, but Dominique taught me there's two tax codes. There's two sets of tax laws, one for employees and one for the self-employed. Maybe you're not going to buy a McDonald's. Maybe you're not going to start a business the way that I have, Jewett Wealth Management. However, the purchase of one property, forget apartment units, the purchase of any rental property is the starting of a business, true?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're now in the world where all of the tax deductions, the beautiful tax code that allows you to take tax deductions, exists, and they can all be put into an LLC for asset protection or whatever. Somebody steps on a rake, breaks their nose, you don't want them to take your own house, right?
Right.
So, but what people don't realize is between the knowledge base between you and I, we can teach people how to convert their IRAs to Roth IRAs and have increasing rents coming in tax-free inside of their own retirement accounts.
Right.
I know my side, and you know your side. So maybe we should wrap it up since we're getting close to an hour, and it's almost time for us to go to a club and do some rapping. Okay?
I thought we were just going to go out on the street and
What?
kind of hang out with the hood.
You're the evangelist, not me. I don't do street performances.
I have the boom box. I got my boom box all ready to go here. Wait a minute.
Tell me how it goes. Send me a video. Stream that stuff. Facebook Live or whatever. By the way, I want to come back. I forgot this, but I want to come back to something that retirees don't just need money. What's important when you stop working is that you keep your brain active and you keep your brain alive. Because if you do nothing, if you sit and watch Ellen all day long and soap operas, your brain is going to begin to die. It's proven scientifically and medically. You need to still use that brain. You need to still be, participating in the world of humans. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is the studying of real estate, all the things that need to take place, is stimulating to the mind.
Yep. No, you totally got it. I shared this with you when we were offline before. One of the reasons we came back to the States, my wife and I, is to care for her folks who are sort of in their final season of their life right now. And her father is a Cuban immigrant. He came over right after the Castro regime came in and brought his family with him. $17 in his pocket. Tried to do all kinds of work from working in a factory to starting businesses, ended up in real estate investing. He is just a great guy, a really neat guy, but hardworking, and he grew his little empire, to become a millionaire. And he's 90 years old today, still getting income from his properties. 90 years old. He's still got those rent checks coming in the mail, literally. And he, this has got him all through his life. This great sort of, I don't know what you would call it, but this amazing machine that is just sort of like some people call like an ATM machine that just keeps providing. You don't you have to put anything in, but you can keep taking out, and it's just really neat because I want to have him on my show. He's got a pretty heavy, thick Spanish accent. I don't know how it would go. My wife will probably have to translate there for some sentences, but he speaks English, but it's pretty thick. So, but I'd love to have him on because I want to show that this is something that really, literally can get you through your entire season of life, and be able to have not only that, but when he goes, that he's going to have this legacy to leave to his children, and what a wonderful thing to be able to do. It's just great.
So I knew your wife was beautiful. Is she Cuban?
Yes, she is.
It's just not fair.
Oh,
it's just not fair. Your life isn't fair.
I definitely not.
You
No,
married
she's-
up.
Yeah, they tell me that all the time, and
Strangers probably tell you that, right?
Oh yeah. It's usually like we meet at an
Is that your
event.
daughter?
Yes, yeah, right. Or is he your grandfather? No.
I thought you only had 7 kids. What's this oldest one?
No, I've had to live with it all my life. But
So Bill's hip hop message for the world is, with Old Dogs Network, you can stay in the game. I'll teach you the real estate. Wait, how do we do it? With Old Dog Network, you can stay in the game. I can't remember what I was going to say. I know. I'm trying to.
Go ahead.
Okay. White guys in Escondido trying to rap. Welcome to the Renovating Retirement Podcast. I had it before I talked about your wife, and then I just went all crazy.
I'm so sorry, Charlie. I know you've worked all these years just to build that credibility up, and in one episode it just kind of all just I'm just teasing.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. All right.
Oh boy.
So what do people do to find you? How do they find the show? How do they find the coffee appointments? How do they get in touch with Big Old Dog Bill?
Well, the podcast, we are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. What's the other one? iHeartRadio. So any of those you can go to, and you just type in Old Dog, DAWG, and you'll find us because there's not a lot of Old Dog podcasts out there. And we also have a website that has not only the podcasts that you can listen to, but there are articles on there. There's resources. I put like the top 20 real estate investing books. There's all kinds of articles that teach you all about what you need to know to be able to get started in real estate investing. So that's at Old Dogs, spelled DAWGS, as we've been kind of wearing into the ground there, but Old Dogs, REI Network.com. And come by, and there's a lot of free stuff on there that you can take with you there that hopefully will help you. And if nothing else, there's some good information there that help you weigh out whether or not real estate investing will help you. It helps you sort of assess whether or not that's the right direction that you need to take.
Perfect. And for my listeners, when I'm talking about taking the money that you've saved in your life, splitting it into in-case accounts, that's emergency funds, income accounts, that would be annuities or real estate, and increase accounts, which could be a whole bunch of different things, certainly could be real estate. This fits. This may fit into number 2. It may fit into number 3, depending on how you're wired. We probably agree, Bill, that real estate is not just an investment. It's a bit of a job. That's why I called it your own business. It takes some of your time to find deals, manage the renters or manage the property managers, right? It takes a little bit of time. But that time can increase your returns infinitely compared to investments or products that don't take any time. So it has its place in the world for some people. Bill's way ahead of you. What are you looking for somebody that can kind of help you get to the next level? Somebody that's just at least one level ahead of you. Bill might be 5, 6, 7 levels ahead of you. So once again, how do they contact you?
Old Dogs, REINetwork.com. And if you want to write to me personally, it'll be Bill at OldDogsREINetwork.com.
And just for the record, let me just go on the podcast for the record so it's contractual. I want a 20% commission on the zero you charge them.
I'm not charging them anything.
I know. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So I'll give you 20% of that.
You got the young Cuban wife. I'm getting 20% of zero. I can't rap. This is ridiculous.
Hey, she's
Anyway.
only 7 years younger than me. Okay, you make it sound like I got this teenager. Okay.
Younger than you. Oh my
But
goodness.
she looks like she's like, maybe
And only
20.
eaten avocado since the day she was born. There we go. All right. We got to wrap this thing up at some point. People can't listen. I think we just went 40 minutes past the listening capacity of a human being.
I think you're right. But it was fun.
It was
So-
fun. And you know what? What do you make people do on your podcast at the end?
Ooh, you're going to catch me on that one. Well, everybody that's a guest on our show, and I don't care, just who they are, what they are, everyone has to howl like an old hound dog at the end of our show. So if you are a guest on my show, that's what you do.
All right, Bowser. Let's do it. Let me hear show them how it's done.
Oh,
Show
no,
'em-
you want me to howl?
Listen, I don't know how many what do you have, like 70, 90, 100 podcasts? You've heard all these people do it. Just need you to one-up them, show them what it feels like to have checks coming in the mail in retirement.
Okay, this is what you do when you go to that mailbox and you open it up and you go, ow!
'Cause this is Thriller Night. Oh my gosh, all I can think of is Michael Jackson videos from the 80s. So like you stubbed your toe.
Yeah, that took a lot. I'm going to have to take a nap after this.
I'm serious. Me too. I'm in my 40s and I might need to take a nap after that. Oh, folks, I hope you enjoyed this rant with Bill and I that we try to throw in every couple of months. And this rant can make you a lot of money, can put you in a great position, and can, more importantly, maybe even more importantly than the money, keep your brain active and alive during retirement so you live a long, long, healthy, profitable life. Let's get those paychecks, that mailbox money, let's get those paychecks coming in like clockwork, and then put you in a situation where you can have forced appreciation. If you want the tax planning, we can do that too. Get it to be tax-free inside of a Roth IRA or just be regular old money. Or if they don't have any money, they can find investors and still profit from it, right?
You got it.
Hey, how much better could you get? All right, Bill, how many languages do you know how to say goodbye in?
Really just Creole. That's actually English too. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna
Expected. You sound as Caucasian as they come. You're like, well, I live in California,
Well,
so
Italian.
maybe
I
Spanish.
know a little Italian, but
What?
most of the words I can't speak. My dad would share with us.
No,
Yeah.
don't do those on air as an evangelist. Well, I don't know how to say goodbye in Creole.
Okay, it's very simple. It's just au revoir.
No, that sounds French.
Yeah, well, it's Creole. Most of Creole is French, so
Is
it
it
kind of
just
makes it
spice?
easy. Yeah.
Spice on your revoir than the French do? All right. Anyway, until next time, Bill, thank you so much. Any parting words or a quote or another French word, Creole, whatever it is?
No, I mean, I think that's it. I think your poor listeners have had an earful here.
Well,
Just in that last howl.
We're under 60 minutes, and at your hourly rate, that means they owe us nothing. All right. Good talking to you. Talk to you soon.
Hey, it's a pleasure, and thank you so much, Charlie. It's always great rapping with you. Both kind of raps. Yeah.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
The old dog and I think you people are the best.
But that's all, folks.